I know that we've merged 3 events into one. We have the Africa Industrialization Week that comes every November. And last year we celebrated this together with our first Kenya Industrialization Conference at the University of Nairobi. And we had a lot of exhibitions, a lot of discussions, and a lot of speeches. We also had Changamka Festival here last year. And this year we have merged these 3 events into one: the Kenya Industrialization Conference, the Africa Industrialization Week, and the Changamka Festival. When I look at the room, we have the best that we can put together. You have government, you have the private sector, you have international partners, both UNIDO and the UK government, and we have the best. So all the way we are looking at Africa, we are looking at the global scene, and clearly it cannot get any better. So the Cabinet Secretary, members from the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, esteemed members of CAM, manufacturers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning. For me, it's a tremendous privilege to be here today as we celebrate and recognize the achievements of Kenyan manufacturers by displaying and selling directly to Kenyans through the Changamka Shopping Festival. In every corner of our nation, manufacturers have risen to the challenge, harnessing creativity and advancing innovative solutions that power our economy, generate job opportunities, and elevate the quality of life for countless citizens. We cannot be more grateful. Today, we gather not just to shop, but to remind ourselves of the essential role our manufacturing sector plays in positioning Kenya as a leading force in the region and on the global stage. Our manufacturers are more than just producers. They are nation builders, weaving resilience, ingenuity, excellence into the fabric of our economy. However, this journey is not theirs to take alone. To truly elevate Kenyan manufacturing, it's crucial that we as Kenyans embrace a culture that champions and celebrates locally produced goods. I know that the government, and today, as the CS will be elaborating, we've been having the Buy Kenya, Build Kenya, where government agencies are required to buy 40% of all their requirements from locally made goods. This has been on the table for a long time as a policy, but today, through the Business Laws Amendment 2024, we are actually making it into law. So this is really going to be a step forward. There is an urgent need for every citizen to explore and support Kenyan-made products, recognizing the unique craftsmanship and ingenuity that define them. Each Kenyan-made product tells a story of dedication, skill, and the relentless pursuit of excellence by our people. Let us appreciate and support this passion by choosing locally made goods, not only to foster economic growth, but to help sustain the livelihoods of the many hard-working Kenyans whose labor brings these goods to life. Such forums as the one we are gathered here today play an indispensable role. They create a space where consumers, businesses, and stakeholders can connect directly with local manufacturers. They provide an opportunity to witness the high quality of Kenyan-made products firsthand, to appreciate the stories behind each item, and to understand the level of skill, dedication, and innovation that drives our local manufacturing industry. These connections foster trust, they foster loyalty and pride in Kenyan-made products. To our manufacturers, I want to say this: we are immensely proud of you. Your efforts and achievements are not only advancing our economy, but are also demonstrating to the world that Kenya is a land of immense potential, talent, and opportunity. Through your work, you are helping to shape a future that reflects the best of who we are as a nation: resourceful, determined, and innovative. As the Ministry of Trade, Investment, and Industry, we remain committed to creating an environment that supports your growth, protects your innovations, and positions you to compete favorably on a global scale in line with the mission and vision of the Kenya Kwanza government. Together with public and private sector collaboration, we can build a manufacturing ecosystem that is truly strong, sustainable, and inclusive. Our aim, as mentioned before, is to increase the manufacturing sector's contribution to the nation's gross domestic product from the current 7.6% of the GDP to at least 20% by 2030, to fully realize the fruits of this sector. And I know that with the efforts that we are putting together, with the energy, with the resilience, and with the policy reforms that we are putting together, this is achievable. Let us work hand in hand to continue elevating Kenyan manufacturing. Let us build a future that speaks to the strength and creativity of our people, and let us together raise our nation's manufacturing prowess on the global stage, reflecting the unwavering Kenyan spirit. Thank you very much for listening. And my last sentence here will be, I want to take this opportunity to invite all Kenyans to come and Changamka with us this week. With those many remarks, ladies and gentlemen, it's now my pleasure and honor to invite the Minister for Investments, Trade and Industry. Please stand up to invite him, Honorable Salim Vuria.
Thank you very much. We can take our seats. The Principal Secretary in charge of industry, Dr. Juma Mukhwana, the British High Commissioner, His Excellency Neil Wigan, the Kenya Association of Manufacturers Vice Chair, Hitesh Medirata, and also the UNIDO country representative, Madam Tali, who is doing very well in Kiswahili. The CAM CEO, Tobias Alando, other senior officials here present, recognizing the senior officials from government agencies and also from our sponsors. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Today is a very, very important day because we are here to profile our country. Because basically what Changamka is doing is basically to profile our country and the products that are made in Kenya. And therefore, I'm very happy to be associated with this event and fully committed to ensure that even as we do Changamka Round 7 and also the Industrialization Conference second edition, I'm very happy that this initiative has really anchored the manufacturers and the products of our country. And I'm sure as we move forward, this is going to be very useful in making sure that we use this event to strategically position Kenya within the continent as a very strategic investment destination. This festival that we are doing today is also going to elevate our manufacturing capacity and also to tell everybody that manufacturing is a major contributor to job and wealth creation in our country. And therefore, as we look at Changamka and the products made in Kenya, we not only celebrate the final product, but we also reaffirm the critical role that manufacturing has played in the entire value chain. And I think in each area of value chain, we talk about jobs in the value chain. Ladies and gentlemen, as the government, we remain unwavering in supporting and creating a conducive business environment where manufacturing can thrive through policies that prioritize investment, foster competitiveness, and uphold sustainability. We are working with all of you and all Kenyans to ensure that these products, they are not just called Kenyan products, but they also meet the international standards. And therefore, when we are talking about Buy Kenya, Build Kenya, we are not just saying Kenyans to buy their own products, but we are also asking the international population to look at Kenya, not just as a manufacturing country, but also as a country that is producing high quality products in the market. And therefore, the efforts we are putting here are well aligned with the broader goal to stimulate economic growth, create jobs, and strengthen the foundation of resilient economy. As the government, we have put in place measures and policies aimed at increasing the manufacturing sector's contribution to the nation's GDP, and our aim is to move it from 7.6% to 15% in 2027. And in this regard, we will be working with you, and I know we already do that, to ensure that we embark on a robust legislative and policy reform that is going to support investment, trade, and industry, and also work even at a lower level to ensure that the subsectors are properly involved in policy making. Ladies and gentlemen, the government of Kenya over the last few years, we have key priorities that we have put on the table to inspire manufacturing in our country. And His Excellency the President has put it very clearly as part of priority that we also need to inspire rural industrialization. And therefore, the efforts that we are doing to do county aggregation and industrial park is in the right direction to ensure that we maximize the value chains in the agricultural sector to enhance local, regional, and international market access. We are seeking to establish agro-processing and value-added cottage industries in the counties in a bid to promote regional economic development and make agro-processing and value chain are profitable and also as a means of employment creation. We have also been able to establish special economic zones, both public and private, which are now 38 in number. And under this arrangement, we also encourage investors and manufacturers to plug in so that they can also get benefits like tax exemptions. And in order to do this, then we need to announce to everybody that part of the reforms that we are doing is looking at the Special Economic Zone Act, where now we want to make sure that we have predictability on matters taxation and on the incentives that we have put in place. On the part of government, we also want to commit that we will be working with you not just on matters policy, because I know policy and legislation is a key priority, but we have also identified key administrative challenges that we feel we also need to work together to unlock the processes of business setup and also business continuity. Arising from the engagements that we have done in the past, which have really itemized the cost of doing business as a key area, and especially for manufacturing, the cost of power, and also the issues of predicting how the tax policy will be. We are also working to ensure that at least we reach a middle ground on the matters of cost of energy. So I know this has been an issue for a very long time, but now we are working with our colleagues, our other ministries and agencies to ensure that we bring on board a situation where we can have a middle ground on the issues of cost of energy, and I'm sure this will be very inspiring to all of us. Now, arising from the business environment in Kenya, the government has been making a lot of effort in creating access to markets, and I think previous speakers have discussed that matter, and one of the markets we have created is the market in Europe, which is bringing us 27 countries. And if you look at our export trajectory, you find that most of the products that we take to Europe are mostly in the agricultural sector. And therefore that points to us in the direction of making sure that manufacturers focus to ensure that they do value addition for our agricultural products to find the market in Europe. And in this arena, I want also to say that the issue of quality is very key. And as a ministry, we are ready to work on the backward linkages to ensure that we tackle the issue of quality at source. We also have opened a market in UK through the economic partnership agreement that we have done. And basically, it is the same issue that we need to address so that our products can be accepted internationally. Here in Africa, through the AFCFTA, we now have 1.2 billion population in Africa, where we can supply Kenya products. We also have, East Africa here, and also through the tripartite agreement, we can access the South and North Africa. So basically, what this has given us is a leverage on the access to markets. However, I want us to work around so that in those markets, we don't sell potential. We sell the Kenyan products in those markets. And I think this Changamka program is very key because it has assured Kenyans that we have the products. And now these products have to be modeled to ensure that they enter these new markets. We've just concluded the draft that we are doing with UAE, the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, to be signed any time. And this is also a new market. So I think as government, what we have done is we have worked to ensure that we open new markets for products. And now the products have to find market entry in those markets. And I think Changamka Festival is well anchored to ensure that we use this platform to inspire that Kenyan products can enter these markets. And where we find challenges, especially in terms of quality, in terms of the quotas, that is then the work of government to ensure that we continuously provide the enabling environment for you to enter these markets. And therefore, at the moment, we are very happy that we are working on key reforms in the business sector. When we met last in September, for some of you, we had very raw data. Some of the proposals were very low, very raw. But now I want to make an announcement here that we have been able to put together a business laws amendment bill, which is an omnibus bill. And it is taking care of many of the areas that we had discussed before. It is amending 18 acts of parliament, and it has 57 sections that you can look through where we have made proposals. And basically, these are proposals that we've already presented in Parliament in draft. However, the process of collecting views and listening to you is ongoing, and therefore I want to encourage you to ensure that you participate fully in this process. We are also at a very advanced stage on the issue of formulation of policies. and especially the one on quality, which I think is very critical to entry of our products in the various markets. And therefore, this is a policy which will help us to formulate areas that we need to work together to ensure that our products are of high quality. And I equally encourage you to participate in this process. We also have identified other areas that we need to reform. And part of what we have done is the National Industrialization Policy Framework. And I want to thank the UK government. We've worked together in this one. And again, this one is giving us an opportunity to really refine and define our framework when it comes to industrialization. We also have the National Automotive Policy, and this is also tied with the Automotive Bill. And basically what we want to do here is we want to make Kenya a modern country when it comes to matters automotive. The world is moving EV, electric vehicles, and all that. And therefore, it is very, very important that we also update our laws to take cognizance of that reality. Kenya is also home to apparel. You know, previously, before, I think many years ago, Kenya used to be advanced on matters cotton and textiles. And when AGOA was signed, I think Kenya was really very key in the apparel. But right now, I think for some reason that has gone down. And therefore, we are formulating a cotton, textile, and apparel policy so that we can re-engineer the processes of making our country to be the world leader in apparel production. And that is also tied with our efforts in reviving the cotton and ginning industries in our country to make sure that we also participate in making in providing quality apparel in the world. So I think there's a lot happening. I think apart from the business amendment bill, which I have mentioned, which we have submitted, we have other bills that are already on my table, but I think it's good to mention the metrology bill, which is looking at matters of calibration, the geography indexing bill, which is really beginning a process of patenting products from different regions. We also have the warehouse receipt financing bill, which is also looking at matters of aggregation, and the trade description bill. So I think we have quite a lot of proposals that we have in place, and all this is aimed to ensure that we have an environment that, one, is updated, but is also conducive to do business. We also know that there has been issues with the business mentorship and startups, and we are also making progress in starting an industrialization fund, which is going to be very key on new businesses, especially for young people. So I think that there's quite a lot that we are doing to ensure that we make the business environment much better. So this industrialization week, which is the second in our country, is well aligned to the Africa Industrialization Week under the theme Leveraging Artificial Intelligence and Green Industrialization to Accelerate Africa's Structural Transformation. This theme is timely and is coming at a point when Africa is gearing up for enhanced industrialization in an atmosphere that is committed also to green manufacturing and the adoption of technological advancements. I think there are a number of areas I have mentioned, so I'm really trying to find progress. So as we inch closer to our industrialization dream, both nationally and also county governments have to push towards a green industrialization development pathway that also provides a space for local industries to adopt technology and advancements such as artificial intelligence. I think the good news is that already Kenya is powered 92% renewable energy. And therefore, when we talk about green industrialization, we are already ahead in terms of strategy with the way we power our energy in the country. It's 92% renewable. The other good news is that Kenya is a champion and a leader, and I think you've seen our president is very keen on matters climate change and is the champion here in Africa. The third point, which is also good news, is that we have also the Africa Green Industrial Initiative, which has membership from key stakeholders, which is also positioning green industries to have special initiatives, incentives for them to set up and grow. So I think with all these arrangements, we are really positioning our country to be able to harness these green investments, and I'm sure this is going to be useful going forward. And I think the positioning that we have already done is also very critical to ensure that we succeed within the areas of a competitive environment. I had some Swahili because I realized Changamka. Changamka is coming in a big way, so I had some Swahili things here to say about Changamka, and that is why I'm trying to find them. But I think what I want to say is this. When we are talking about Buy Kenya, Build Kenya, this is not just a slogan, but this is a matter of patriotism. It is also a matter of self-actualization for our country. And therefore, Buy Kenya, Build Kenya is not just a slogan, but it is a commitment that we all need to commit to so that the products we are producing here, we become the first buyers. But as we buy, we also create jobs. So actually, Buy Kenya, Build Kenya is a catalyst for job creation and wealth creation in our country. So nunua Kenya, jenga Kenya. Sitamna hiyo? Nunua Kenya, jenga Kenya. Alafu tunaambia Wakenya wachangamke. Wakenya wachangamke na bidhaa zao. Wakenya wachangamke na bidhaa zao. You see, if we don't buy and we continue importing what we produce, then it means that we are not creating jobs. So we have in the omnibus bill that we have done, we have made a provision for Buy Kenya, Build Kenya. We have amended the procurement law to now allow the purchase of Kenya products that are manufactured in Kenya. So there will be no choice. It is now in law. So that's mnipigie makofi. Yeah, because when we do that, then we are able to cement our wealth creation and as well as job creation. I think just to recap, the business amendment bill, we have amended the CESA laws, the Special Economic Zone Authority legislation. We have amended this to provide clarity on the tax benefits and predictability of these benefits for 10 years. That's the amendment we have done. We have equally made an amendment to Can Invest law because I think for the last few months I have interacted with investors some have been complaining. Some, have lost some money to people who are, they call agents, but they don't have information on the investment process. So what we are proposing here is to register the investment facilitators so that we can equip them with information, with proper accreditation, and when they are handling foreign investments, then they are properly recognized. And I think we have also said that we register the FDIs so that we can have reliable data that can give us an opportunity for decision making. On financial institutions laws, we have also amended to increase capital for banking from 1 billion to 10 billion. And basically this is to cover emerging risks. And I know about 50% of banks have already complied, even the law is on draft. But this is part of what we have proposed. When we went to discuss the issues of affordable housing, and I remember some of you were in the roundtable in State House, there was an issue with the mortgage, especially for hustlers. And banks were saying that in case of default, it takes very long to recover. And therefore, we have proposed a foreclosure of 6 months so that we can inspire banks, to lend the mortgage, and especially on the housing program, for those that do not have a lot of income. We have also introduced import levy on some products that are being manufactured so that we can protect the Kenyan manufacturers to cheap imports. Therefore, I want you to be very keen on that section of the law so that we can make it better for everybody. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have quite a lot that we are doing, which we are also progressing, and we want to progress with you. But today is a very important day that we are here profiling the products from Kenya, and as already being mentioned by the PS, when we are talking about products from Kenya, it is not necessarily that they have been made by a local manufacturer, Kenyan. Even foreign investors, they make the products here in Kenya and they become Kenyan products. Yeah? So it should be very clear that we are not just looking at locals as local, but even the foreign investors who are making the products here, those products are Kenyan. And we will give them a KEBS stamp as Kenyan. And that is why it is very important to announce to everybody that the position that Kenya occupies in Africa is a very critical position. And therefore, whoever wants to invest and they want to access the African market, then Kenya is the investment destination. So with those many remarks, ladies and gentlemen, I want to declare the Changamka festival officially open. And I want to urge Kenyans to come here at KICC, not just to see what is there, but to buy Kenya and build Kenya. So nunua Kenya, jenga Kenya. Alafu tuchangamke sasa wa Kenya na bidhaa za Kenya. Mungu awabariki, asante.
Let's celebrate Cabinet Secretary, Chief Guest, and the Kenyan government. We are live on TV. We'll just provide only space for 5 questions. June will help to gather those questions. Please, just 5 questions from the media, and then we can proceed to the ribbon cutting outside the Savo. Just to remind you, we are live, so we need to keep it very brief because of the time for being live. Then we proceed to the Savo to cut ribbon.
Before that, I want to build on what CS said. I want to make one point.
Any questions? Members of the Fourth Estate? We want to make sure this narrative is elevated at the right level.
No questions? There's one. Let me just.
For purposes of the live coverage from KTN, the speakers will come back to the podium to respond, so you could bring back the mic.
But I think in as much as the government is trying to do a lot in terms of policy reforms, I think there's also an issue with the Kenyan people themselves in terms of their attitude and their approach to Kenyan products. You find, for example, you get a glass that is said to be made in Kenya, but then you'll find an attitude among Kenyans themselves. They won't buy that one made in Kenya, but if the same glass is labeled made in Korea or made in Japan, they will buy that.
Thank you. That's question number one. Question two, we are taking all the 5 questions at a go.
Good morning. My name is Sophia from KTN. The CCS has a mission about reforming the policies. Perhaps what are some of the specific policies that the government is working on in terms of manufacturing sector?
Thank you. That's the second question. Third question. Okay.
Morning, my name is Thomas from Nation Media Group. I have a question for the PS and for the British High Commissioner on environmental sustainability. And then the question for maybe the British High Commissioner is the UK has supported the regional economic development for investments and trade. It's called Reddit, if I'm not wrong. Maybe can you tell us more about this initiative and maybe its impact on the Kenyan manufacturing sector?
Thank you. I'll now invite the British High Commission to come to the podium, then the PS, and then the CS. Thank you.
Thank you. So I think the question was around the Trademark Africa, which is the program that we support. So that aims to expand trade across the whole of Africa, including to take advantage of the Africa Free Trade Continental Agreement, which is the program that we support. So that aims to expand trade across the whole of Africa, including to take advantage of the Africa Free Trade Continental Agreement. But it also focuses very much here in the East Africa community, which is where it started. Some of this is about building physical infrastructure. So recently I was at Lamu Port, where we've invested, I think, almost $100 million to make sure that Lamu Port could be a major trade center. In the same way at Mombasa, we're investing in Mombasa Port to try to speed the processing times at Mombasa Port to make it quicker, cheaper, and more straightforward for businesses to use Mombasa Port. In other places, we're working to try to make administrative processes quicker, simpler, and cheaper for exporters. So, for example, at the border between Kenya and Uganda, we have a one-stop customs post, which means that a company can just go, a truck can go straight through the border as quickly as possible. And that's reduced waiting times by several days in some cases for companies which want to trade. So that's the objective of Trademark Africa, and we think it's been a big success. And we think it gives real opportunities for Kenya as one of the manufacturing and the trading hubs of the region to export deeper all the way across Africa and into Congo and even further. Thank you.
Thank you. Pankaj, then the PS. Okay.
Yeah, mine is to answer his point. I think it's a very good point to have confidence on made in Kenya products. And just to elaborate on what CS said on nation building, I think everybody should understand the environment in which Kenya is producing today is a global standard. So it starts from the compliances, high quality of compliances in the manufacturing, health, safety of the people and all that. But I must tell you, if you go to Macy's in New York, you'll find made in Kenya products there for brands like Levi's, Calvin Klein, Tommy Hilfiger, and the Wranglers of the world. You go to Primark in London, you will find household goods sold there. You go to Germany, you'll find made in Kenya products with Otto and Bonprix and all that. And even if you go to Dubai, you'll find products made in Kenya. So it's an international standard products which we are producing. And I hope consumers get that confident and they come and buy and see what we are producing here.
Thank you. Next,
Yeah, Trevor, we were together yesterday. The question on attitude. I think the way I want to answer this question is to say that we need to keep the products that are produced in Kenya of high quality, so that we convince Kenyans and everybody that when they buy Kenyan products, these are products that can be accepted internationally. The other thing we need to keep doing is to keep profiling so that we can address the issues of attitude. However, I want also to address Kenyans. If you are not buying a Kenyan product, then you are also not participating in creating jobs. So, because we have many young people who don't have jobs, I want to urge Kenyans that the only way to create jobs and wealth creation for our country is for all of us to appreciate and buy our products that are made here in Kenya. Because these are products that have gone through a value chain, and in every value chain, you get jobs in that process. Keda, for example, I see Nick Mao is here, and they are doing tiles, from local materials here in Kajiado County. And Keda is big in tiles and sanitary, sanitation equipment. So then we don't have a reason now to import tiles, because we already have tiles that are made here in Kenya, local clay, local kaolin from here in Murang'a. So when you buy from Keda, this is just an example, then you are creating the jobs in the quarry in Murang'a, in Kajiado, and then value addition, you have, a number of other young people who can also get jobs, the engineers, the supervisors, the casuals, and everybody, and everything there is Kenyan. So I think the issue of attitude is very expensive, because again, if you think that you buy imported products and you are also educating your children at the university, you are not doing them a good service. So as Kenyans, we need to learn to appreciate what we produce, and then we don't become a supermarket for other people. We need to create these products and also take them to market in Kenya and the market of other countries, so that our youth can get jobs. The other issue was by my sister there from KTN, who wanted to hear a specific policy that we are doing. That's what you asked. You want now you got me on the podium. Can I deal with what you have asked? I know you are my friend. You want us to say a lot more. So the first one we are doing is the cotton, textile, and apparel policy, which is going to be very useful in, inspiring us back to apparel. Then industrialization policy, which is going to be a very good framework to inspire industrialization, and that will come with an industrialization strategy and a bill. So it's a package which is coming together to ensure that we clarify some of the gray areas that have been troubling. The quality policy, which is now dealing with the issues that I have mentioned about quality, and here we will even work on the backward linkages for value additions, so that our products are compliant from source, and we move forward. these are just examples. The automobile policy, which is addressing the matters of automobiles and EVs. Yeah, so I think we can talk about it quite a lot, but I think you wanted me to give examples, you know, of policies that are related to manufacturing. Then there was one on green industrialization. I think the government of Kenya is very much ahead on this. First of all, with the 92% renewable energy, that is, you know, a step in the right direction. And you see most of the time, His Excellency, the President is very keen on, you know, geothermal energy, which is, you know, renewable, and it is part of the green industrialization. Away from that, we have the Africa Green Industrialization Initiative, which is mapping out green industries across the country and giving them some incentives so that they can grow. Then now we have an effort to do carbon credit regulations, and basically this is to benefit from carbon credit. So I think basically those are some of the questions that have been put to me. But I'm sure this discussion is very lucrative. It can go on and on. What I want to promise is that wherever you call us for an engagement, we will be open to make sure that we share more information. And you know, some of the issues I've shared here, we will have specific sector discussions where we can then deepen the discussions and see how better understanding can be generated. And a better input can be collected as we refine these documents going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you. At this point, we will get out. At this point, we will walk out through the side and we'll have our chief guest